All right, let's talk about why so many couples fight. We're going to dig into a really fascinating idea today. What if the surprising culprit behind those arguments is hiding in plain sight? What if it's your families? Yeah, let's get into it.
You know the feeling, right? One minute, everything's totally fine. The next, you're in this massive argument and you're both just sitting there wondering, how on earth did we get here? Well, what if the real reason for the fight wasn't even in the room with you? So this is the core idea from our source material today, and it's a big one. It suggests that a ton of the fights we have with our partners, they're not actually about us. They're about pressure from the outside, specifically from our in-laws. It's a pretty provocative thought, so let's unpack it.
And our source points out that this is especially true for new couples. I mean, it makes sense, right? When you're just starting out, you're still building that foundation, still learning each other's quirks, so your relationship is naturally going to be more sensitive to influence from the outside world.
Okay, so think of your relationship like its own private space, a little bubble, just for the two of you. Our source calls this bond one of the most valuable things in life. And it argues that when a third person, even a parent who means well, steps into that space uninvited, that's where the trouble really starts. Now, here's what's really interesting. The source is clear that parents almost never do this on purpose. They want what's best for their kids. But sometimes those really good intentions can have the complete opposite effect. Let's look at two major ways this happens. First up, we have the comparison trap. A parent might just casually say something like, "Oh, my other son-in-law always does this." They're probably not trying to be malicious. But for their new partner, what they hear is, "I'm not good enough." And that feeling of not measuring up, man, that creates instant discomfort. And number two is the pressure for everything to be perfect, like right now. Our source says that parents can get a little impatient. They just want to see their child happy and settled immediately. But come on, building a life together takes time, right? And that pressure for instant harmony just adds a whole layer of stress nobody needs. Okay, so you've got these outside pressures, but how does a little comment from a parent-in-law actually blow up into a huge fight between the two of you? Well, it turns out it's often a pretty predictable vicious cycle. This breaks it down perfectly. So it starts with a spark, some little comment from an in-law. Then comes the suppression, where the partner feels hurt, but, they can't really talk back, so they just swallow it. Later, you get the venting, where all that bottled up frustration comes out on their unsuspecting spouse. And finally, confusion. The spouse has no idea where this is coming from, so they fight back, and the whole thing just escalates. The crazy part? Neither partner's really the bad guy here. Now, there's a second way our families get tangled up in our relationships that can make things even worse. And this time, it's when we're the ones who actively invite them in by venting about our own fights. Our source calls this the telephone effect, and it's brilliant. Just look at the difference here. From your perspective, you're just blowing off some steam about a small issue. But from your parents' perspective, they hear, "Oh my gosh, my child is in serious trouble." You tell your side, they only get one side. You know you'll probably make up tomorrow, but they think this is a huge crisis that they need to step in and fix. That huge gap in understanding, that's where things get really messy. Okay, so that's the problem. It sounds kind of bleak, right? But here's the good news. You are not powerless here. You can absolutely do something about it. Our source gives some really clear advice on how to build a fortress around that couple space we were talking about. And the number one tool for building that fortress? It's a relationship boundary. It sounds technical, but it's actually super simple. It's just an agreement you and your partner make about what stuff is just for you two and what, if anything, you share with the outside world. So here's the game plan. The main idea is just to try and handle the small stuff yourselves. You got to learn to tell the difference between a minor disagreement and a real crisis. See, when you share every single little problem, you're basically giving people an invitation to interfere. And always remember, your parents are biologically wired to see your small problems as gigantic catastrophes. At the end of the day, keeping your conflicts private just makes the trust between you two that much stronger. Look, if you take away just one single thing from all of this, please let it be this. Your relationship is a team. When a problem comes up, whether it's from outside or inside, the goal is not to win the argument against your partner. The goal is for you two, together, to face the problem as a team. It's us versus the problem, not you versus me. So that's what I want to leave you with. Thinking about everything we've just covered. What's one small conversation you could have with your partner, maybe even tonight, to start building that fortress and really